Welcome to the MVP Show. Full show notes for this episode can be found at nz365guy.com/313. Before we chat with today's guest, there's a quick message from our sponsors. Today's show is brought to you by the 90-Day Mentoring Challenge. This will be the 5th year I've run the program to help turbocharge your Microsoft business application career. If you want to be mentored by me in the next 90-Day Mentoring Challenge, go to nz365guy.com/mentoring for more information. And at some point, I'll put up the dates for the next challenge. Anyhow, with that, let's get on with the show. Today's guest is from Auckland, New Zealand, so my home country. He is a consultant at DXC Technologies, a first-time MVP. He's actively involved in the user group and a co-organizer in the Sri Lankan Microsoft BizApps group. And he's, of course, a big cricket fan. You can follow him on Twitter at D365Bits. That's D365BITS, or at his YouTube channel, same thing, D365Bits. Kasun Pathirana, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me. It was a great pleasure.
Did I pronounce your name right?
Yeah, it was great.
You are generous. You are generous. So how long have you been living in New Zealand?
For about 2 years now. Almost getting close to 2 years. I came here on 2019 May.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, May 1st. Yeah.
Wow. Do you know, I think you are the only person in the Dynamics 365 community, in the Power Platform community, that I have met face to face in the last, in 2020.
Yeah. yeah, we met in Auckland, yeah.
That's right. We caught up for a beer, and just you and me, and that's crazy, right? You're the last person that I've had contact with in the BizApps community worldwide in person.
Wow, that's amazing.
That is crazy to think about, like how,
well. Yeah.
You know, we had no idea when we were sitting there having a drink that this is how things would end up.
Yeah, we never thought about it. Yeah.
No. I mean, I don't even know if we were talking about COVID. Was it February or January?
February, January? Probably February or January somewhere. But I think we were not talking about COVID. I think it came suddenly, and then everything changed from there onwards.
Yeah. Crazy. So, do you originate from Sri Lanka?
Yeah, originally from Sri Lanka, and came to New Zealand, as I mentioned, on 2019 May. But before coming to New Zealand, I was in Singapore for about 4.5 years. Yeah.
Right. So how hard, I often get asked this, is how hard is it, one, to get sponsorship in another country in the BizApp space, and then ultimately, you know, how do you go about getting a residency visa? How did you find that when coming to New Zealand?
Yeah, I think I was doing probably a job search at that time, so getting back to either Australia or New Zealand, but I got the opportunity here, and it was at DXC. I think by the time I was applying, and then fortunately I got through all the interviews, and then once I got a work to residence. So that's how the path which I am coming from. So the work to residence, yeah. And
so did DXC put all that sponsorship stuff in place for you, as in bringing you to New Zealand?
Yeah.
Excellent. So they sorted out. I take it you had to go through some application process for residency and things like that.
Yeah, true. It was quite about around 2-3 months on sorting out all the visa and everything. So probably maybe 4 months. Yeah, it took a long time. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I just interested in the process and what it takes these days. When I was based in Australia, I employed a lot of people on what are called 457 visas in Australia. And so I brought people in from overseas. But what I found is that about the time I went on my sabbatical in Australia is that I think the Australian government changed the rules around how to get visas in Australia. And I think it's a lot harder now even to get a working visa.
Yeah. I think also nowadays it's also changing, I guess. But I haven't looked at recently, but I think it's being a bit changing, I guess. So, Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
COVID's
understand it.
going to obviously affect things. It's going to be interesting to see how particularly, when we start moving back to travel again, how much, the governments are going to want to stimulate getting, skilled talent into the country, etc., to help boost the economy. So it should be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, that's true.
Tell me about Sri Lanka. Family, particularly, what's the best things to eat in Sri Lanka? It's one of those countries that I can't really say I've been there, although I have been there. I've sat on the tarmac in Colombo on a connecting flight to, of all places, North Africa. I was going to a place called Eritrea, and that was our connecting flight. And I remember just sitting on the tarmac. This is like 25 years ago. The doors open on the aircraft, absolutely sweltering heat that it clung to you. It was so hot, and we weren't allowed off the aircraft as they did whatever they needed to do. But that's the closest I've been. If I was going to go and visit, which I definitely want to someday, I've heard a lot of good things about it. In fact, I have a nephew by marriage who is Sri Lankan, so I got to go there, of course. Tell me, what should I do if I visited Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I think if you visited Sri Lanka, so it depends on what Mark likes. So if you like the ancient stuff, you probably can go to the Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa. But if you like the beach area and stuff like that, you can go to Gold or there's some fantastic beaches out there, like on the downside, the coast. So you have few beaches out there, and then if you like a kind of person who like the mountains and stuff, you can go to the middle part of the country, and that's where the Kandy and the other places around. So there's some good mountains over there as well. So there's a lot of places if you like to. I mean, depending on what you prefer. But I would definitely recommend you to go to Sigiriya. So Sigiriya is one of the places that in Sri Lanka. So that will be having like ancient stuff, and that I think was nominated as well for UNESCO as well. So it's a nice place. Yeah, and it's a nice place for you to go and visit. And I think you like the beaches, I guess. The south part will be good as well for you. And in terms of food, the here you have the rice and curry, and there will be definitely nice curries that we have, like the chicken curry. But mostly the most important part of the curry of us is we have the coconut milk. We use the coconut milk, yeah. So that, and with the spices, so you'll be definitely enjoying that.
Wow, sounds really good. What do you miss most about Sri Lanka?
um, what I miss most about Sri Lanka, I guess, mostly it's about my family and friends back there, and then the places that I visit, so I can go and visit those places. But definitely my family and my friends would be the ones missed. But currently I have my wife and daughter with me, so my yeah, so she's just 3.5 years old. So yeah, yeah.
So, I don't know much about how the impact of COVID on Sri Lanka. I've heard a lot about the impact of COVID on some of the other countries around that area, but has it been very impactful in Sri Lanka? Has it affected your family or anything like that?
Um, yeah, it's like initially it was well controlled by the government, but I think there was one case which popped up. I think for about maybe until maybe October, it was quite good, 2019. But then there was one case which popped up, and then there was cases going around, but it was not too affected. But there are certain number of cases in COVID cases. And in terms of my family, my wife's family got affected. Wife's family's relative passed away due to the COVID recently. Yeah,
Not good, eh? Not
not
good.
good. Yeah, not good.
Uh,
Definitely.
are you pleased to be in New Zealand at this time, or do you wish you were back there?
Yeah. To be honest, I'm pleased to be back in New Zealand because New Zealand is doing quite good with the COVID. But in at the same time, I'm a bit worried about my family situation because of the COVID around there in Sri Lanka. But yeah, to to be honest, I'm lucky to be here. But yeah, I know that not only Sri Lanka, but I guess all around the world. I think New Zealand is quite lucky in that
Yeah,
sense. But
totally right. Totally agree. Um, you first came to my attention in the community with what you were doing in Singapore. So before you moved to New Zealand, I remember seeing your name pop up quite a bit. You were quite instrumental, right, in really helping kick off the community, which is now quite a vibrant community. My understanding in Singapore, is that right?
yeah, that's true, Mark.
So
That's
what
good.
did you guys actually do? What did you set up? What did you pull together? And what's happening now in Singapore based on what you know?
Yeah, I'll tell a bit about the history on that as well. So I think I think I had a call with Mark on 2018 June somewhere because I was really interested about getting into the community, and at that time there wasn't any active. I mean, there was a Singapore community, but not active anything on the Power Platform or Dynamics. So I was really interested about getting to know. So once I had the call, Mark was giving me a lot of good advices as well. So I went back to the Singapore community and looked for the community. And that time there was a data platform community, so I went in there and then I did a session on Power BI top 10 tips because I couldn't do anything on the Dynamics because there's no Dynamics community over there, and getting to know really good folks like Sanjeev and Dharmendra, and there were a few more as well. And then I had a few sessions and get to know a lot of knowledge from the other sessions as well. And then once, I think after a few months back, a few months after, I think myself, Sanjeev, Jiva, and Deepesh, we formed the Singapore Dynamics and Power Platform community, and we had a really good number of people over there and really good active users, and that was a really vibrant community. And then we had I think probably around more than 100 people participated on the first meetup. That was a quite good one. Yeah, that was a quite that was a quite good one. And yeah, from there onwards it's been great. And now we have the ASEAN's Microsoft Biz App. So now we have so I think it started from the Singapore, and then it went to Malaysia, Philippines, Sri Lanka, and yeah, there's a lot more communities getting together, and now we have ASEAN's Microsoft Biz Apps user group. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
that's incredible how things have really exploded, really, across the region.
yeah.
So, what do you specialize in when you look at the range of tools in Microsoft Biz Apps? What's your kind of key skill set? What do you focus on?
Yeah, my main product would be Dynamics 365 FinOps, so the supply chain management and finance. And I had quite a good experience with working with the Power BI as well, while when it started on 2016-17, and also within the other the Power Platform products as well. And I got kind of experience on the CE as well. I did two projects on the CE customer engagement one, the sales mainly. Yeah, so these are my experiences. But if you ask me, the main bread and butter would be FinOps. Yeah, yeah, supply chain management. Yeah.
How much has that changed over the time you've been working with it? I originally think I came across it. Was it AX7? Was probably when I first came on the radar. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think Microsoft went from 2012 R3 to the cloud version, the X7. So that's, I think, 2016 or 15 somewhere. Yeah.
And so, have you been working with it since then, or even before that?
Before that, I started in 2009 in Sri Lanka while I was working in Sri Lanka. So I get to know on the AX 2009. So that's how I started. And then I went to work with the 2000X 2012 as well within different versions on the R1, R2, R3, and then working on the D365 FinOps now, the supply chain management mostly nowadays.
How did you first come across Dynamics? Like, were you working for a company and then you were introduced to it? Did you apply for a job? Like, how did you first start working with Dynamics?
Yeah, I applied for a job when I was in Sri Lanka and got selected to it. So I was selected as a ERP consultant, and on the first day, actually, I was involving with production. I mean, there was a project going on, so they were like doing some data migration. So I was involved in the project straight away from the first day onwards. It was quite good, yeah. And with myself, and I had another friend who was also living in New Zealand at the moment as well. Yeah. So we both started at the same day. Yeah.
Wow, incredible. And how did you kind of train yourself up on it? Were you just going through, I mean, back then there used to be mock courses and official Microsoft, what was called a Microsoft official curriculum type courses. Did you do any formal training or did you do all self-taught?
Yeah, mostly self-taught, and we had help from the company as well. So we had like some sessions. There were some consultants from Microsoft, so they were giving some sessions as well. So we had some internal sessions to as well as the self-learning as well. Part of it, mostly I guess, the self-learning, and then help the other part as well on the trainings as well.
Interesting, interesting. And then, how have you progressed through? How did you, particularly moving from one job to the next? What were the key points where whether you were working for a company and you knew it was time to move on, or how have you progressed your career since that point in 2009?
Yeah, from 2009 when I started, I was working in the X, and then how I progressed was like I had a 1 year opportunity I got to work in Netherlands, so that's the only time which I didn't work related to X, and I was working in a data warehousing project. And then once I come back again, all X, mostly on the X. Every time I'll be working on the X at the time. And in terms of the career progression, once I was in Sri Lanka, I thought of getting more experience. So I've left Sri Lanka around 2014, and then I found a job in Singapore. And from there onwards, I think Microsoft, I think around 2015, 16, there was a lot of changes coming in. And so I was actively participating in a lot of the webinars to get to know the new technologies. Like at that time, I think Power BI, the Power Apps were also coming in, and then customer engagement going on, a lot of changes. The field service came in. So I was like I mean, even though I'm not involved in all those aspects of the products, but I was really keen on learning the product and learning the changes and everything. So I was attending all the webinars and got to know a lot of knowledge. So that's how I step into the different areas of Power BI and the customer engagement later on in my projects, because it was easier because I was having my self learning going on at the same time. Yeah, so that's how I venture into the different product areas.
Nice, nice. Who nominated you to become an MVP, and how was that process for you?
Yeah, Sahan from Australia. He's a MVP living in Australia. Sahan, I think. Yeah, Sahan Vijay Sekara. He actually nominated me, so that's how I was nominated to the nominated, and then I got the award recognition in November 2nd. Yeah, I think I got a me. Yeah, on 2020. Yeah.
So you've just had your first MVP summit. How did you find that?
Yeah, I think it was great, fascinating to be part of the in the same virtual room, same virtual room with the other MVPs, and then got to know a lot of about the roadmaps and the Microsoft the future, the plans and stuff like that on the products, and also really great questions and really great interactions with the other MVPs in that session. So it was a really good experience, but I would have think with physical meeting that would be a different experience, but the virtual experience was good.
If other people are considering, becoming an MVP, what advice would you have for them?
Yeah, I think the main part for me is like getting involved in the local community. So that's how I started getting involved in the local community. And I would also suggest that you can also work on the forums as well, because the forums are also actively nowadays also linked back to the communities as well, community groups as well, and that's been happening as well. So I think forums local community, and then start presenting as well as learn from the others as well, other sessions as well. So getting actively participate in all those aspects, and if you can, you can have your own blog, and you can have your own I think these days the videos are very much pretty much important. And I think the YouTube is also another aspect if you like to venture into the videos, and if you like to have your own blog, and these things will be really helpful for you. So those are the things that help me as well.
I see that on YouTube you do have a range of videos yourself that you've been publishing, which is really, really good. It's definitely a medium that people seem to enjoy engaging and learning from. So well done.
Thanks, Mark.
Are you ready for your quick fire questions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You've heard some of these before, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Have you been told you look like anyone famous?
Yeah, one of the actors, I guess, in Sri Lanka. Yeah, they were telling I was looking alike.
Nice. If you could only eat one meal every day for the rest of your life, what would your meal be?
Oh, rice and curry.
Nice. Would you rather hear the good news or the bad news first?
For me personally, yeah, where I am now, I can hear both. I don't mind because I don't get excited by the good or the bad stuff nowadays. I'm trying to control myself. So whatever the news comes in, yeah.
Final question: would you rather read another book? Sorry, would you rather never read another book or never watch another movie?
Never read a book, I guess. Yeah, I can't stop watching movies.
Oh, that's so good. It is a hard question, definitely a hard question. Kasun, it's been great to have you on the show. I look forward to getting this published soon. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Mark. It's a really great pleasure for me to part of this. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Business Application MVP Mark Smith, otherwise known as the NZ365 Guy. Please like and subscribe in your favorite podcast player. And if you'd like to leave a review, go to nz365guy.com/review. Otherwise, stay safe out there and see you next time.